Welcome YouTube. My name is Dale Calvert. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 18 events/trends that we've identified that move the sports card market. I have been absolutely shocked getting back into this market. My brother and I had a baseball card memorabilia shop back in the junk wax eras. We had our shop. We did shows all over Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. Had a great time, one of the best times of my life, and I've gotten back into the profession and really studied it to the best of my ability hard for over a year now. And it's amazing to me how hype moves this market, or the "what have you done for me lately" mentality moves this market more than anything that I've ever seen. There's more opinions. There's different people collecting cards different ways, investing in cards from different mindsets, different perspectives. It has been unbelievable as I've really studied what moves these markets, what moves the card market. And I think the reason that it really has hit home with me lately is the night after the Super Bowl, we sold 5 graded Jalen Hurts cards within 2 hours after the Super Bowl ended. And it really kind of put things in perspective for me from that standpoint. And I'm so thankful for all the phenomenal articles and the amount of information that's on YouTube. There's an enormous amount of very knowledgeable people that I've learned so much from. I mean, I can't say enough about these guys, especially the spitballing cards guys have helped me tremendously kind of put some of this in perspective, because what I came out of, the junk wax era and the card shows, this was prior to PSA grading. Okay, this was 89, 90, 91. PSA was not that big of a deal back then. It's really changed a lot, and the amount of information that is available to all of us here on YouTube, if you'll take the time and really listen to the right people and study, you can really start to wrap your mind around what's going on in this industry, especially if you're like me and you've been out of it for years. You were heavy into it, and now you've come back. There's a lot of great information out there, and honestly, I can't thank the guys that put out this content enough. It's meant everything for me. So let me share with you these 18 trends that we've identified. I actually did an article, and I'm not going to try to get into too much detail, because if this piques your curiosity at all, you can go and check out the article. It's at cmgsportscardinvestments.com/hype. cmgsportscardinvestments.com/hype. And there's 18 trends, events that I've identified. I would love to hear your opinion on what else moves this market, because I'm really trying to get in front of it to the very best of my ability. It's like next year going into the Super Bowl, I'm going to make sure who are the possible quarterbacks and have as many of their cards ready to go prior to that game. I guess that's common sense for some of you, but the fact that we sold 5 Jalen Hurts like that was really kind of eye-opening for me. So my basic fundamental investing, collecting philosophy is this. This is it. Invest in the GOATs. Are those that you feel like have the future to be a GOAT, are a mainstay, a legendary player, an iconic player, a player of the decade. So for me personally, they're GOATs, the legendary players, Mickey Mantle, Tom Brady, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, the list goes on and on. So for me personally, cards of GOAT players are long-term investments that normally hold value regardless of current trends. Your Mickey Mantles, Hank Aaron's, Willie Mays, Pete Rose, etc. Appealing to collectors and investors alike. So GOATs appeal to both collectors and investors. And personally, my goal is to have a collection of Reds players and Braves players, because those are the two teams I love the most and follow. Live in Atlanta, but was raised a Big Red Machine fan in Kentucky. So those iconic players, current players that I can watch today, those are the guys that I gravitate towards. And and then the GOATs. And for me personally, from a financial standpoint, other than those cards, nothing else matters in the long run. So, yeah, it may be hard for me to get to sell an Andre Dawson that I've had since I was a kid, that I can remember watching him at Riverfront Stadium. But in my overall perspective, for me personally, it's Reds, Braves, GOATs. So the GOATs. Number two, and again, I'm going to get through this real quick. I'm not, because you can come back and read this if this makes sense for you. Call ups, who's been called up, and that can go great or it can go bad. A great example, and you can watch this video, is unbelievable. The week this kid had when he came up to the Reds last year. A lot of you probably haven't even heard of him. Reese Hines. I mean, he was crushing the ball his first week, and then everything tailed off. And I think he might have even been sent back to the minors to AAA. And there's a question whether he even make the team this year. But people were buying up. I had a friend that spent over $1,000 just on Reese Hines cards. So the recent call up that takes off, the first rounder, of course, and then we've got the number one draft picks, Paul Skeens. Do I need to say anything else? The fan favorite, somebody that maybe never had great stats, but was just loyal to the team and loyal to the fans and communicated with the fans. There's fan favorite cards that will always have value. The sleeper pick. I remember Jerome Walton, 89 upper deck. Man, oh man. Our, it was like actually the 1990 upper deck. Sorry, I had a brain fart. The 89 upper deck. So you had Griffey's rookie card. Everybody knew who King Griffey Jr. was. His pedigree was well known. And then you had this kid, Chicago was just having a phenomenal year, and Jerome Walton was killing it for the Cubs. And everybody was going after the Jerome Walton cards, and my brother and I were opening up 89 upper deck as quick as we could. We were pulling out the Jerome Walton cards, selling them for $16 at shows, and then turn around and buying Griffey Juniors for $8 or $9. So, but because he was a sleeper pick, nobody knew who he was, and everybody thought he was the second coming. But the sleeper pick, there's a few sleepers every year. The bounce back candidate, I did a whole article on this. I've invested in 10 cards, most of which are bounce back candidates. I've invested them prior to this season with the goal of selling them by All-Star break and making 50% return on my money. You can read that whole article if you want there. Corbin Carroll is my number one bounce back pick for this year. Then you got the veteran, Jesse Chavez. You got to love Jesse. He's played for the Braves, I think, 3 or 4 times. He's been on 9 different major league teams, and Braves fans love him. He's a cheerleader for everybody else on the team, an inspiration to the younger players, and he's just the veteran, the old trusty veteran that everybody loves. And, their cards will have some value in years to come. Then you've got the Hall of Fame contenders. Those that have Hall of Fame potential, and there's always cards that are overlooked, players that are overlooked. For me, one right now is Chris Sale. I mean, he won the Cy Young last year, but honestly, I think collectors are overlooking his cards. I mean, they can be picked up very cheap right now. The international sensation players, Ohtani, Luka, need I say more? I did a whole article just on the 10 Shohei Ohtani cards that you could buy for less than $100 that I think are good investments right now. The rookie phase, I don't need to say any more there. The hot streak, again, the Jalen Hurts, he's had a great year, then wins the Super Bowl. Enough said. The trade buzz, we saw that through the entire offseason with Soto, right? The breakout season. And there's people every year, there's players every year that have breakout seasons that people were not expecting. There'll be some in baseball this year. Uh, I remember back in the day buying Cecil Fielder cards. He was knocking home runs like crazy, and nobody knew who he was or where he came from. Uh, but he had played in Japan a couple years before, so I was buying Cecil Fielders in common boxes at shops, every shop I go to, and we loaded up on his Donruss rookie and his 86 Topps rookie. And this was, in 90 or whenever he came back to the United States and set the home run record, won the home run, was number one for home runs for that year, and nobody had ever really heard of him. He was an unknown, but he came back to the United States, had a breakout session, and we made a ton of money buying and flipping Cecil Fielder's cards. And we were buying them out of the common boxes at shops all over the country within our area. The comeback story, we're all crossing our fingers. Hopefully this year it's going to be Ronald Acuna. Uh, and we all know his story, what's going on with him, and hopefully he's going to have a phenomenal season this year. The playoff hero. Doesn't get any better than what we saw this World Series. Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam in game one of the World Series kind of set the tone. And that will go down in history. If you want to see it again, I got the video here in the article. And then one of the most iconic home runs was in the same stadium with Kirk Gibson. Some of you remember that in '88. I'll never forget it. So those iconic moments can really set a player up and his cards. And then the chase. Of course, my mentor, my personal PC for my entire life, Pete Rose. And of course, everybody remembers him passing Ty Cobb. But for me, one of the most memorable moments, and he chased a lot of records in his career, was the 44 game hit streak. It was intense every single night. Is he going to continue? Can't tell you the number of times he came to the plate. He was 0 for 3, 0 for 4, and he got that hit to continue that streak. It was unbelievable. And, back then, when this was going on, Pete Rose cards were unbelievable. It was like Mickey Mantle when this was happening back then. The viral moment, and I'm not going to say any more about this than it makes me throw up in my mouth even to look at the picture. I hope to never have to see this video again, but I'm sure I'll be watching it the rest of my life. So anyway, guys, there's 18 things that can really move a market from what we've studied and observed and looked at. There's a lot of hype around this. It's a lot of what have you done for me lately? Again, my buddy buys $1,000 worth of Reese Hines cards. You've got to be more, and you got to be as smart with your investing dollar and your flipping dollar as you can. And again, listen to people that have been around a while, know what they're doing. I personally have no interest in the hot potato game. I'm not interested in going to a show and buying a card for $300 or $400 and hoping to sell it for, if I buy it for $400 and hoping to sell it for $425 or $450 that weekend, playing that hot potato game, buying it for less than comp and trying to sell it for comp or more in the same weekend. That does not interest me in the least at all. I don't want to play that game. I'm a collector first. I'm actually an entrepreneur first, but I'm a collector. And again, Reds cards, Braves cards, GOATs. For me, it's simple. That's who I collect. Everything else, yes, we sell a lot of cards. Dawn and I are going to start doing some shows this year because I want to get back into it, because when my brother and I were doing those shows, it was great, fun times. But there's so much hype and there's so many things that move this market. And if you're in the market to make a profit, even if it's to fund your personal collection, then understanding these 18 trends / events I think will be very beneficial. So I hope you find this article worth your time. Again, it's at cmgsportscardinvestments.com/hype. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again Saturday. That's tomorrow. We'll be opening packs and giving away cards. If you don't know about that, then you can check out some of our other videos here where it explains how we're giving away cards. As a matter of fact, I'll try to make that video flash up on the screen if I can figure out how to do that. You guys have a good one. Enjoy your collecting, enjoy your investing, and have fun with it. Enjoy every day. Again, my name's Dale Calvert, CMG Sports Card Investments.com, and I hope you find this article beneficial.